Hello everybody, welcome to our crypto spiritual energy update here from transCODES. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy coach and energy healer, and what I do is pick up on collective energies, report about them. I just finished the collective energy update and then translate them into the crypto sphere. Welcome. If you think that's a little weird, yes, you're in good company. We all think that's weird, but it is no better place than the crypto market, being such a grassroots phenomenon, to take the sentiment, the emotionality that is in our collective, to use that as a forecast tool. All right, so there's lots of very good YouTubers that can give technical analysis, that can give their guesses and their assumptions. I am putting my 2 cents in here by adding the collective energetic weather condition. And I'm wearing a red shirt here today. This is a bit misleading. We're actually having a very, very green day here on the, what is it today? The 12th of April. But I do want to advise you, and I'm not a financial advisor, of course, to take this with a little bit of suspicion. So the overall energy that we are dealing with here as a collective is not quite at a place yet where we can fully assume that the markets have turned back into the unmanipulated or completely free of outer factors. I talked in the collective energy update how not really knowing ourselves and knowing our inner reactions or reactivity and suppressing a lot of our inner truth, how this can make us susceptible to outer dynamics, to outer movements, to externalizing our powers. And so a lot of us here have been waiting for the signs. Okay, so I've called this crypto spiritual update waiting for signs, and I'm going to talk about this here in a second. But first of all, I want to greet all of you who are here. This is live. You can ask live questions. And let me know where you're watching from in the edited version, which most of you watch. You don't have that opportunity to ask or to comment live, but here you do. So welcome. Yes, thank you for being here. All right, so within this crypto spiritual community, which, by the way, is active on Facebook in a Facebook group called Crypto Spiritual, there you can get daily updates, and I post links to articles and sometimes also YouTubers who I think have reflected on the daily situation really well. The overall situation that we have today here is that the sudden influx of market capital leads to a rise in Bitcoin prices, and this is of course what we've all been waiting for, but be cautious, okay, because some of that, and this is something that we've discussed here last week already, may just still be a part of a overall dynamic, and that is the tax situation here in the United States. As most of you know, April 17th actually is the deadline for filing your taxes. And so traditionally, even in the stock market, this has always been sort of a bit of a low time. And so we've been sitting here for 2 months waiting for signs, and that can make us susceptible to waiting, for, the go signal, okay? And I interpret this green day as we have it here today, the sudden spike, as something like a bit of a what other people call like a bull trap. There's been a lot of capital that has been squeezed up, that has been that has built a lot of pressure here. And those of you who observe the futures market can see this very clearly. And also if you observe, how people release their capital and how they hold this within shorts and long positions. Okay, so many other YouTubers are talking about a short squeeze right now, and I have to agree with that. It coincides with the collective energies. And that is this pressure cooker situation that we will still continue to have until after next week. So I don't really see this this up and down and pump and dump changing until after the 18th of April, guys. I hate to say it because, you know, I'm, you know, one of those like yourselves, you know, who've been hodling all along and doing these weekly updates and empowering people to observe and research the crypto market. But for those of you who have been waiting for signs, okay, try to reframe this now as stand your ground and never succumb to FOL or FOMO. FOL, fear of loss, and FOMO, fear of losing out, because this is the collective energy right now. We are under heavy influx of first, third and fourth and sixth chakra influencing energies, which means that especially the first chakra triggers our fear of loss. It triggers this sort of reactive type of investment, so to speak. And so even though, yes, there is a good momentum right now, and it looks like we're starting to dig ourselves out of this stagnation that we've experienced here in the last 3-4 weeks. All right, we may not quite be there. There's so much going on right now. It's very difficult to keep up with the news, and many of you know that, you know, there's a lot of background stuff going on, even manipulation, as some call it. Now, I don't fully agree with the manipulation aspect of it. However, I do know, and I've pointed this out last time, that there is a lot of background preparation going on. Okay, all the big corporations in the world, all the governments, all the you know, political as well as the corporate organizations are moving towards blockchain technologies, and that tells you a lot. There's actually even a blockathon that the EU has announced yesterday, giving away a reward of 100,000 euros to the best hackers. Okay, this tells me stories. All right, this is something that I've seen 35 years ago when the internet came forward, when this whole software industry developed. This is how people are being recruited. Okay, this is what happened to my friends back then. All right, they all end up in insurance companies and banks and government agencies. You know, meanwhile at the time, you know, we were kind of sort of the pirates of that. But now, you know, they've all moved into these large corporations. And this is my main theme here, really, for this crypto spiritual update. But I want to continue talking about the collective energies a bit more. The third and the fourth chakra, as I've explained in the collective energy update, and the barrier that we all have there, which is, you know, the barrier between our beliefs, our, you know, what we're convinced of, you know, what we identify with, and what we truly feel within. And this is really important for you as crypto investor, because we're not dealing with a market where the technical analysis tools that we have and where all these traditional economic theories apply. All right, you have to resort to your inner feeling, and this is only possible if you can let go of your ego, if you can let go of, see, I told you so. You know, I was telling you about Bitcoin, you know, 2 years ago or whatever. You have to let go of these things. This is not what this is about. This is about you being able to really tune into a movement that comes from the roots. All right, that comes from our collective need to liberate ourselves from control, from outer control and power structures. And if you want to step into your own source of power here, as I called the collective energy update, then you need to know your own ego traps. Okay, so you can't really go with all these ups and downs and see this as a matter of who's right or who's wrong or who's, this is, you can't control. You have to be willing to accept that there are factors here, especially in a fast-moving time like right now, where the news that is being spread that is widely still manipulated, where the data that is that is owned by corporations is manipulated, where all these things are not entirely liberated. You have to have a strong navigator from within, and that is your heart. Okay, that is your fourth chakra, not your third chakra, not where you feel the excitement about it's all green, you know, where the greed comes in, you know, where this sort of missionary fanatism comes from. All right, so you need to let that go, and you need to find your strength, your power in what your feeling tells you. My feeling right now tells me that we are not quite yet in a place where it's safe, at least not for me, you know, as someone who reports about this, to give a green light to people who are beginners and who have, maybe not as much as experience in watching this. So keep an eye on it, but stay true to yourself, all right? Ask yourself, is this true? When you read news, when you try to interpret the signals that you are seeing, you know, don't let yourself get manipulated through this. And your sixth chakra, that is, the part in us that, of course, sees the future, and that can see through all of that. But we can be sort of influenced by these outer views, you know, like what other people say, or how other institutions, you know, like all these news that we have from governments, you know, banning cryptos, and then, you know, simultaneously investing into cryptos. All that is subject to our externalized powers. Okay, so as long as you don't really stick with your own inner guidance, you will be falling for everything that comes in from the outside. So stick with your inner feeling, guys. This is the place here. This may sound very contradictory to what most people will say about finances, but here in this market, it's the opposite. Okay, this is all of you guys who've had this feeling all along. All right, you can come out of the woodwork now. And last week, I've reported about crypto careers, and I want to pick up on this again. I said what I would do if I were 20, and honestly, this entire last week here reconfirmed all this for me. Guys, it doesn't matter how old you are, okay? If you feel that this is true to you, okay, then follow your calling, you know, commit yourself to doing this. You can start these blockchain coding and programming courses that are out there that I recommended last week. Personally, you know, I would recommend to go to people like Ivan and Tech that have, a track record of really, credible information, and who are also connected with the crypto companies and the communities, and learn how to code in blockchain, understand this industry. It doesn't matter whether you are interested in becoming a coder in the end. There's so many other careers that are available in this emerging market. Okay, last time I talked about video production, music, visual arts, and so forth. Today I want to point out, and this is something that plays right into our time right now: accountants, CPAs, lawyers. Guys, if you want to get an edge, for moving up within this new technology, then go and learn what it means, to do an ICO, what it entails, to run a blockchain-based company, and read up on the regulations in your country. All of that is going on right now. That nothing is set in stone right now. This is like the birthing stage still, okay? And so if you are one of the first ones to be informed, then you have a major career in front of you here. All right, so take this inner prompting if you get this and go for it. All right, we have at Crypto Spiritual here taking this advice for ourselves and walking the talk now, and we're in the process of founding a crypto spiritual staffing firm. So what we want to do is helping those of you who want to move into blockchain, into finding jobs, into bringing community and corporations and the people who want to go into these places together. All right, so if you are interested in offering crypto jobs, or if you're interested in educating yourself, or if you're looking for a job, then please let me know at Jona@transcodes.com. We're in the process of cooperating here with a bunch of people who are helping us building this worldwide network of crypto talents. All right, and I want to pick up on something that Ivan on Tech has mentioned this morning, which I think is significant, and that is how you can tell that that there's a lot of potential there, and that is we're seeing this motion right now, where all the people who have had these really high-paying jobs at Wall Street are slowly moving into the crypto and blockchain world, and this is something that tells you everything. This is where the future of the FinTech, financial technology, but also, of course, as we know, all these other technologies that are needed in order to provide the infrastructure, or where the infrastructure that is needed for the blockchain, where the money is going. And so for those of you who would like to know what I am investing in, I would say the safest bet for me right now is to go into infrastructure, and to continue looking or researching, companies such as Ethereum, EOS, Nano, ADA, Cardano, and Wanchen, and there's many more. But you want to, if you're not an expert or a day trader, you want to keep an eye on those companies that have been there for a while and that have already provided infrastructure and that are contributing to the spread and also the credibility of crypto technologies. There was some news here in the last week about Poland, about Spain, how they're coming up with tax regulations and some really weird ways of approaching this, like a general tax on crypto and so forth. Guys, don't fall for all this FUD, this fear, uncertainty, and doubt news that is going around there. Just yesterday, 22 EU countries have signed sort of a work group type of agreement that they're going to use to work out regulations that count for all of these countries. The same will happen here in the United States. There will be a lot of up and down, and we're doing this way, and we're doing this way. By the end of the year, I'm pretty sure that we will have much more clarity about how to tax cryptos, how to handle the legal and the accounting aspects of the crypto sphere. So just stay calm and patient. It's not really anything that you need to worry about. And those of you who are a little bit of a predicament right now with paying taxes, because you've had massive gains last year and you can't really pay for generated taxes, then file for an extension. There's a great article that I post here with this video, and see how this all develops within this year. I think it's a safe bet to say that by the end of the year, we'll have a much more simplified and easier process or procedure there.
Yes. There's also news about people taking out loans, or taking out their student loans in order to invest into cryptos and just letting it sit there. I thought that was a great idea. Not that I'm recommending this. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, but if I look at some of the investments that I've made for my own kids in the past, I think it's probably more safe, to invest into technology that clearly is a way showing for the next decades. Okay, and so if this is something that crossed your mind, ask your heart, of course, if this is something that you want to do, but it's probably better than trying to invest into things that are now really more or less becoming the old paradigm or the old world. All right, so not to say that precious metals may not experience spikes, and I'm still a believer in gold, and I would recommend it to all of you who don't feel safe with their fiat investments, to have a position in precious metals. But on the long run, if you really look into the next 10 or 20 years, then you can sort of infer from everything that you're hearing here in the cryptosphere where all the money is going to go in the future. Yeah. So this concludes here my crypto update. Thank you guys for coming. I'm looking at your guys' chat. Yes, thank you. I can see you now. The chat didn't work in the collective energy update, so I'm sorry if I ignored you there. The question here, what about payment platforms? Very good question. I almost forgot about this. This is going to be huge. All right. And, you can, I actually called PayPal, what was that, 2 months ago. And I said, well, does PayPal intend to include crypto payments into their, and the statement was very clear. No, there's no intention for PayPal to move into crypto payments. All that is already sort of being nullified. There's one of the corporations that work with PayPal, Square, who's already announced that they're including crypto payments now. There's big banks like the Santander Bank, who's already announced that they're going to provide the ability for crypto payments along with the credit cards. Guys, the payment platforms, I've always been a really big proponent of them last year, such as Utrust and 10x and so forth. Sit this out a bit. I don't think it's a mistake to invest into them, but we'll see all the big payment processors move into blockchain here within 2018, and so it's probably a safe bet, to have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 contenders in that race. But we all know that as soon as the big payment processors move into crypto, it's going to change the whole ratio there. The way the money that they have available is, of course, way beyond sort of what these smaller or grassroots blockchain companies can provide. And so I would, as an investor, I would wait this out. As a user, or as somebody who actually offers my clients to pay with cryptos, I follow my heart, guys. I support those who I think act according to these more liberated and new paradigm aspects of the crypto world. And so I will inform you guys as soon as I found someone that we can use here as users, or small businesses that we can offer. But from an investment standpoint, I think we should be prepared for a lot of surprises here coming up very soon. Yes. And there are some comments here about UTrust, yes. I've participated in the ICO of UTrust last year because I have a good feeling about them. That's all I can say right now. Yes, today is a crazy crypto day. You know, it's just like with the any type of reactivity, you know, whether you go really low or really high doesn't really matter. If you're looking at it from an energetic point of view, you know, it's better to really feel this out, give yourself the space that you need. We all know where this is going to go. So in 10 years from now, you know, it all won't matter, you know, whether we had a green day or a red day. Okay, so the reason why you're here right now is because you can feel this coming on and you have a vision. And so my general tip here is follow your vision. But don't get wrapped up in the individual ups and downs, because that's just going to pull you into your first chakra fears, either your fear of loss or your fear of missing out. Yes, I hope next week we will be able to talk about some of the companies that are up and rising, and also some of the ICOs that are on the horizon. I will, at this point, my prediction is that after the 18th of April, we can look at 2 months of bull market here, and so I'll be more than willing to report more about individual tokens rather than I have in the last 6 weeks, where I've just mostly reported about the market. Yes, awesome. Thank you, guys. And thank you for coming. Don't forget to smash the like button here. If you are looking for crypto jobs, or if you have crypto jobs to offer, please email me. We'll soon come out here with a platform where we can offer all this as they come and go. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.